Folks, welcome to the Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast, where we try to talk about everything that is our life, Eric. We've had a lot going on, so we're just going to jump right into it. No crazy introductions.
All right.
But, man, you've been on vacation.
Yep.
We didn't even have a podcast last week because I had so much going on. You were out of the state. Where do we start, man?
Let's start with
Colorado, man. I want to know
Colorado.
about Colorado. I've been watching this. Y'all, Eric went to Colorado for a week with his family, went skiing, and I was following him on Instagram. He was posting a whole bunch.
Yeah.
What do you think? You ready to go back?
It was. I like being up there, getting out in the heat,
Yeah.
and getting in some of that cold weather. It's nice. We were up there in Pagosa Springs, which is not as commercialized. I'd call it, like it's going like to Aspen or Vail or Breckenridge, so which was what I wanted. So it was nice. It was like small little town, had everything you needed. Drive about 15 minutes. You're up.
How many kids went? How many kids you take?
So I have my youngest 3, and then we went with another family. It's a buddy of mine. They have 2.
Who's the all-star skier? Is that you?
No. I held my own. I was gonna try snowboarding, and then I chickened out. I was like, dude, I already know how to ski, so I'm like, I can hang my own. And I was like, I don't want to get the piss beat out of me for 3 or 4 days straight. The kids did really good. I think Kippy, she's my youngest. She took the first place award because she was just took off, and like she didn't even use sticks or anything.
Really? She gone?
No, she just gets on and goes. We could find her every few hours, and she'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then head back out or grab something to eat and go back out. But they all did good.
How was the snow?
A lot of powder. It was good.
Yes,
yeah. And the first day we got there, there was a storm blowing in. So that was kind of weird.
But that gave you a bunch of good fresh snow.
It gave us some new fresh snow the next day. Like right when we got to the mountain, I was getting ready to buy lift tickets, and it blew right in. I was like, man, and they shut everything down. So we were like turned around with the house and ate and relaxed and played there for the afternoon, and but it was nice. I had the big deck where I could smoke my cigars at night.
I saw that.
And stare at the mountains.
Yeah, man. You can't
listen to my Weldon and Henson music.
Eric has the VIP first, I guess, full album.
Yeah.
No one else has it.
Yeah, I got to listen.
No one else really wants it.
I'll tell you what. Well, that's not true. They're gonna want it as soon as they hear it. I can promise you. But I enjoyed that. I had that, and the plethora of other Texas country music that I have stored and saved, and we drove out there. So I spent 14 hours.
Drive, man. That's a nice drive.
It was. I don't mind it. Like Phoebe was asking me, last night. She was like, "I'm sure you don't want to drive tomorrow, but can you drive and I'll ride along?" And I was like, "I don't mind driving. Like as long as I've got my country music and a car, I don't give a shit. I'm good to go." So it wasn't bad. I hadn't been out in West Texas in a long.
Which way did y'all go?
So we went out. So we were on the way out. We were going to drive out about halfway and stop, and spend the night. So it wasn't too much for the kids. And so we were like, well, we can stop at Santa Fe, we can stop in Roswell, we can stop in Lubbock. And I told the kids, like, we want to stop in Lubbock. There's nothing to do there. Unless you're a Red Raider, there's not a lot going on. So we were like, let's go to Roswell. Because I'm like, hey, it's got a theme with the aliens and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe they've leaned into this a little bit, and they've got this cool spot going on.
Y'all went straight from here to Roswell without stopping?
Yeah, it was like good. 7 hours.
That's not bad.
No, it wasn't bad. We stopped there. It probably used to be really great.
Okay, so you're not going there again.
No, it was a one-time deal. We did stop in Santa Fe for lunch the next day.
Yeah.
Which was great. Santa Fe's kind of a neat spot, real artsy. A lot of cool buildings and cool.
Well, in
shops.
your defense, the kids were probably ready to get up in the mountains. They were ready to go skiing.
Yep.
I don't know about you. When I'm on a road trip, I'm the world's worst at like stopping and taking it in. Like if I got to get to Colorado Springs, we're going. We're stopping, and if we stop, it's for gas. And if you got to pee, you better wait for the gas stop.
But
they don't work with kids.
No. We had a couple of pit stops on the side of the road. We had some firsts. I'll say that. We had some firsts for the kids getting to take a West Texas dump on the side of the road or something like that. Yeah.
All right.
So it was
good old road trip. Old school road trip.
Old road dump.
Yeah, man. All right.
So it was cool. I mean, and you stop in those little towns to get gas or whatever it is, and there's always
something cool to see.
Something cool to see.
Different, yeah.
There's always good people out there. West Texas got good people.
Yep.
And but it was it was interesting to go back out. Like it's, some of those areas are died down, but getting to see the cotton fields again. And my kids hadn't been out there at all ever, so they got to see some of the oil
the
fields,
vast openness.
Yeah, and just the foreverness of West Texas. And then on the way back, there was dust storms blowing through and tumbleweeds, and they got to see those.
We've had so much wind in the last couple weeks down here in Texas, Central Texas. I think the whole state, but it seemed like the last 3 weeks, I don't remember this much wind ever.
It's been really windy.
Some big wildfires popped up, and
Fredericksburg,
been kind of scary, But no, you were in Colorado. I was.
What'd you do?
Well, the Brazilian guys left. We didn't do an episode last week. I know I mentioned that. So this is our 4th episode. Supposed to be our 5th, but everybody was so dang busy. The Brazilian guys left, and then a few days later, my best friend from Dallas came down with his family, and they stayed 4 nights.
Okay.
And we did it up, and then they left, and then the next day, I headed out with the camper, took the kids out to Johnson City. So we spent 4 nights out there. Found this awesome campground. It's kind of a newer campground. It's right on the Pedernales. It was really neat, and my daughter loves fishing. So, I would say I got to fish, but I really didn't. I spent more time helping her and my other daughter get their lures out of the wherever and
bushes and trees and
tying new lures on it, and going from catfish lures to bass. And Brielle caught a couple fish, but I spent most time tying
knots,
lures, tying knots, and pulling fishing poles out of the wherever, but it was all worth it, man.
Yeah. Those are fun times though. Like I remember when Cash first started fishing, I went down I hadn't fished with him, expecting to fish.
No, man.
I realized very quickly, I'm the guy.
You're the guy.
I'm the guy. I'm like the guy that takes the guys out on the boats, and he's a real fisherman, but he doesn't get to fish when you're out there with him.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but you reset, and have fun with them doing that.
About a year ago, I took Brielle fishing out in San Angelo. My friend Carol has a place there on the Concho, and once again, I've got 4 fishing poles. We're going to catch some catfish. I'm here to catch some catfish. We're going to have a catfish fry. Well, she's run off. I'm like, don't go over there. You're going to get your pole stuck, blah, blah, blah. I'm finally sitting down. I finally sit down. Eric, I got a beer, the fishing pole, put my phone in the cup holder. I'm like, shit, yes, this is awesome. Finally going to do this. It's the pole. Brielle's over there. I got it. Pole stuck. All right, can't, I lost the whatever. I'm stuck. So I get off, walk off the deck, go over there. As soon as I get over there to her, big old gust of wind comes, blows the lawn chair into the river. There goes my phone to the bottom of the river and my freshly opened beer.
Oh,
so that was my fishing experience for that.
Yeah, that sounds about
par. And I didn't have a phone for a while, but which sometimes is a good thing.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Being in Colorado, my phone didn't work most of the time.
Yes,
because no reception. So it was really nice. Like I just enjoyed playing.
So, to make a long story short, we did catch enough catfish to have a fry. That brings me to my next point. I just read about this new restaurant in Fort Worth called Catarina's.
Catarina's?
It's in that new, what was it called? The new area they built with the Hotel Drovers there and all that stuff down the Stockyard.
Something alley.
Horseshoe, mule shoe or some shit. But
Mule
anyway,
alley.
Mule freaking alley. Anyway, it's a new restaurant. It's like in a fancy Italian. You can't take your phone in.
Oh, nice.
They have these like pouches that you put your phone in like right before you go in.
Yep.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. I've seen other restaurants, not I haven't seen anybody locally do that, but they're trying to drive interaction. Like you put them in, they have a phone
I read that this morning. And I was like, you know what? I don't really go out to eat much, but I think I might put that on my list. Yeah. How awesome would that be to be in a restaurant without people taking pictures of their freaking food and talking and play on Instagram?
I wonder what it would look like. Like it'd be interesting to film watching people go like.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be bringing some Xanax.
They start like scratching like a crackhead.
Either that or their alcohol sales are through the freaking roof.
I bet they do. Well, you got I mean, I wonder like this. I'm sure there'll be a study at some point in time, but I wonder what the change in like consumption of food and alcohol would be, because it's time you're there, or do the tables just turn faster? Because you're not wasting time taking pictures and
that'd be an interesting thing for them to figure out after a year or so, because I could see it all different ways. I could see, a lot of people, have anxiety. That's their crutch, to be on their phone.
Yeah.
So I could see maybe food and alcohol sales skyrocketing, or I could see people actually start to engage with the 4 people they're with or 5 people they're with and like Next thing you know, they might be there 3 or 4 hours talking. And then there might be some people that are like, get me the hell out of here. I need this. I need to check, what's going on Instagram. Some people can't go more than like dang near 15 minutes without. They got to know.
I know.
They got to see a story.
Well,
see what's happening.
And they're going to survive without people taking pictures of their food, I guess.
Whew. What are you going to do? I mean, what would you do if people quit taking pictures of their food? I guess you wouldn't know what it looked like anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't even know what to eat anymore. I'd have to trust the supermarket.
Hey, I do have a factoid.
All right. The weekly factoid.
No, I know. So, the most miles a single vehicle's ever been driven. You know what it is?
Is this like non-18 wheeler?
Yeah, it can't be like 18.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Let's see. I'm gonna get 498,000.
No, come on, Eric.
Okay.
Those people have those trucks all the time. Hell, my guitar player's got 450,000 on his truck.
Okay. I don't know what.
No, man. There is a 1966 Volvo. This guy put 3.25 million miles on.
Holy crap!
Can you believe it? I mean, I'm talking about getting a return on investment.
Yeah.
Anyway, boring. I know. Hey, if you're into that kind of stuff, I think that kind of shit's neat. So anyway, I thought I would bring it up.
Well,
anyway,
interesting mileage.
3.25 million.
Yeah.
I think I got.
I mean, you got to think like how you have to measure. I'd be interested to figure out like how far that is.
Well, it's like 20 times around the world or something like that.
Yeah. Like that. How long did it take him to get
there? I got like 150,000 on my last Chevy truck before just everything started going to shit on it.
Well, it's the other thing is like it's not just the engine, right? Like you got like other stuff in the car. I don't know. Most cars now like they just start falling apart.
My last Chevy fell apart, and you know what I did? Went and bought another one.
One bought another
Chevy truck.
Like a rock. Did you see that Midland just cut the
Bob Seger song?
Yeah, like a rock. I was cracking.
Hey man,
up.
I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but like, there's just some songs out there that are pretty badass. Like, don't fuck with them.
Yeah, they did an okay job with it. I mean, it's like, but it doesn't need to be re-recorded. Although it was a live.
I've seen a couple artists lately try to cover some like iconic songs, and I'm just like, why? Why are you doing this?
I like people that are covering less known songs.
Well, yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
But like to go after like one of the greatest songs ever. I'm not talking about Midland. There's a couple of artists out there. I don't want to get into mentioning.
I will if I knew who you're talking about. Tell me.
No, I'm not. We're not going to play that game, Eric. I'm not going down that rabbit. We're not going to start calling
clicks and likes and shares we could get if we did that.
We are not going to start calling people out because I, as an artist, I will be looked upon as a jaded asshole.
Oh, okay.
So I can't do it.
But I'm not an artist.
Well, I'll tell you after the podcast. But there are like a couple out there, and I'm just like, why are you covering this?
Yeah.
I was told early on in my career by some people that are very successful in the business. They said, if you're going to do a cover, it either needs to be different.
Yeah.
Or it needs to be better.
Okay. Good advice. There was some of the speaking of covering some stuff, like even with Brooks and Dunn, they just did that reboot too.
I haven't heard that.
Oh, so there's some ones on there that I don't necessarily like them. Some of the reboots they did, but they're so different they don't even sound like the original version. What made me think of that? There's one of them they took. It almost sounds like a metal song. Like it's kind of cool how they took the old.
Okay, well that's kind of cool.
That's it. Yeah, it's a leap,
For
right?
Tribute albums and stuff, they do that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about if you're gonna cover a song and you make it damn near sound the same and it's not better, I'm giving it an F.
Yeah.
Now, now obviously no one cares what I think, but I give it an F for me.
Yep.
F. So,
well, and then there's some of them they cover it and it's almost the same, but you can't sing along with it because they've changed it just enough. Like
so it's throwing you off.
Fit how they sing.
So now you're angry.
Yeah, so you're
angry about it.
Yeah, like it pisses
so now it turns
off.
into anger.
I'm trying to sing along because I know the old version, and then your version is just slightly different.
Oh my god!
You know, it's I don't know. It's like the McDonald's McDowell's thing. It's like,
yeah.
It's really you're just copying the same thing. But
I got in last night late. Took the RV back out to Lano, so I don't have the RV here. Got in about.
You're done. Are you done being a B&B?
I am for a while. I love all my friends, but man, the last 3 weeks it has been
busy.
Well, it's great. I mean, I've had a blast.
Well, you entertain everybody too.
Like,
you don't just have them come out here and stay. Like
if people come stay with me, it ain't gonna be like, hey, I ain't gonna leave you alone. If you want to be left alone, don't come visit me because I'm ready to get after it. We're going to party. Yeah, go somewhere else. But we're going to party if you come stay with me. So anyway, I took the RV back out to Lano after the camping trip. Got back about 11 last night. Big storm came through.
Yeah.
Big storm came through. And I take the RV back out to Lano. The property out there was a disaster from storms, and just I hadn't been out there and really cleaned it up in a while. So I spent a few hours. It was hot, sweating, and then after that, I was like, man, I'm gonna go for a hike. So I went for a big hike. I'm nasty, sweaty. I get home 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, man, all right, I'm gonna take a shower.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a shower in a couple of days. I'm really nasty. Well, I start the water. I get like some shampoo in, and the electricity goes out.
From the storm?
Yeah, from the storm. Which means I have no lights, which is fine. But like, I got a well that's on electricity.
Yeah.
So like, I had like 10 seconds more of water, and I'm just like trying to get shampoo off me, and I got like maybe 80% of it off me, and there was just no more water. So and it's dark, so I stumble out of the shower, not even really clean, just my hair, and I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. So I just stumbled down in the dark, got a flashlight, and I'm like, I really was hoping I was gonna get a chance to like clean the stinky parts.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance to.
Still stinky?
I took a shower this morning.
Oh, okay. So
I wasn't gonna do that to you.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was my exciting night last night.
Yeah. Even the showers were exciting.
Oh man, I tell you what, man, electricity's off, man. But anyway, but you know, and I have a generator that I can kick everything on. But it's like 11 o'clock at night. I was already like, man, I'm gonna take a shower, go to bed. Last thing I want to do was
fire up the generator.
Oh man, if I come down here, no, I'm gonna do all that. But that was my exciting night. Like the end of this whole camping trip and adventure was like
that.
You know, there's no lack of excitement.
Yeah. I don't think we lost any electricity last night at our place. I mean, we had a lot of lightning and wind, and then Kip hates lightning. So
my oldest is like that.
Yeah, she
my 10-year-old.
like it, so she came down,
and my wife is all worried because the sound machines aren't working.
Oh yeah, for sleeping. Yeah, it's like.
Don't get me started on the old sound machine thing.
Well, if the storm's going, you can just listen to the storm.
Oh man, I love a good storm.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I was driving back last night before I got home, I could see all the distance coming back from Lano. There's a pretty neat, good lightning storm. Hell, I might even stop and looked at it a little bit. It was pretty.
What do you got going on this week? Or anything else for last week? And then what do you got going on this week?
Well, you know me, I can't sit still, so I got to play catch up around here first off.
Yeah.
I know, man. This place before you guys got here, I spent an hour. It looked like the shop for y'all. If you're a watcher or a listener, we're in my shop. So this is also a studio and a bar. It serves three purposes. But after, 2.5 weeks of either being gone or hosting people here, this place looked like a frat house, man.
Yeah.
There was shit everywhere. Food on the floor. So anyway, cleaned it up before you got here, but there's still a lot of stuff I got to play. Catch up on.
Did you stock back up?
Man, I kind of did.
You got something in there.
It's kind of a stock up.
Yeah, I mean, you're good.
But
you got something in there now. The boys drank you out of everything before.
So I got that. And of course, we're gonna do Spoke Tuesday.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go back out to Lano Wednesday through Friday and hang out with a buddy, and we're gonna shoot the shit and do whatever. And then Saturday night. Actually, I got 2 gigs this weekend. I didn't realize it. Before I see you again next time, I got Saturday night. I'm gonna be at Mercer Dance Hall.
That's a great spot.
That's
I love that little dance hall.
Like 5 miles from here.
Yeah,
so
it's close to you, but it's a great it's a hidden spot. Most people don't realize because it's kind of outside of town.
Beautiful
but, man,
dance.
If you're ever down here in this area,
sounds great. And it's kind of like home for us because it's so close, and we might even be having a CD release there in May.
Nice.
In May,
that may be the spot.
So anyway, a little nugget of information. But anyway, this Saturday night, March 29th, I think is what it is. We'll be at Mercer Dance Hall. It's at 8 p.m. start, so it's a little early, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you can get out of there a little earlier. But and then Sunday, I'm going back out to Lano. There's a bar out there called Sundown.
You're doing Sundown?
Yeah, Sunday.
Oh, sweet.
You coming?
I may do that. I've been wanting to go out to Sundown.
It's neat, man. It's like a throwback to an old school 60s vintage honky tonk.
Will we be back? We get back Sunday, right? So we may be able to make it back.
He's asking Phoebe, our producer, back there.
Phoebe's. I have to ask. I have 2 bosses, my wife and Phoebe.
Yeah, she puts it all together.
I got to check.
So we always got to. Can't forget Phoebe. She makes it happen. But yeah, so that's.
Well, you did Lukenbach.
I just did Lukenbach Saturday. It was packed, man. It was packed.
It was nice and warm.
The weather was perfect, and we were staying in Johnson City, camping, so it was like a 30-minute drive, and kids came out and stuff, and it was packed, man. It was great. It was great. My new bass player, it was kind of his first big, long gig he's had with us. And
how he did?
He did great, man, besides the fact that he forgot to bring his bass amp.
Oh, well, he remembered his bass at least. Yeah.
I feel kind of bad. He's actually a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is the second time in 30 years of playing I ever forgot like a bass amp.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, don't worry, we'll figure something out. And luckily, Lukenbach had like me and Joe, my guitar players, my guitar player is like a technical guy, man. He can make anything work. So like, he's like the Boy Scout when we go on trips and stuff.
You always got to have one of those.
Yeah, man, he's great for that. So I immediately I'm like, all right, well, we got to do something. We can't just plug him into our PA because this is a long gig, you know.
Yeah.
And so luckily, Lukenbach let us borrow their powered subwoofer, and then we used another powered 12-inch speaker, and we DI'd him into our mixer and back out so we could EQ it. Anyway, it worked, man. It sounded good.
So does Joe do all that, or you? Or
I usually do all the sound.
Yeah, I forgot you did all that.
But Joe, you know, he's one of those guys. If I hit something, I'll be like, hey man, what can we do? He's like, oh, we can do this, you know. So I mean, I like to have my own sound. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have people running sound from everywhere, but you know,
some places,
a lot of times with my business model, you know, we got to make every extra dollar we can make. So I can charge more and bring my PA, and I, you know, it ain't always like this, Eric, but sometimes a lot of that, there might be more often times than not. I think we sound better just me bringing my stuff in.
Yeah.
Because I can hear myself. I know my monitors. I know my setup. I know how it goes. I don't have to adjust anything. Everything's set, electronically saved on our little mixer. So, but I still like to have a sound engineer and tech and all that. But, you know, if I have to do it myself, it's fast, man.
What, you know, you've been playing some different spots. And do you have a favorite spot right now? Like, that you like to play? Like, I mean, not that any of them are bad, but, you know, like, do you have a spot? Well, there are some that are bad, but.
There are some that are bad.
But do you have one that's like, right now I'm really enjoying.
All
this excludes Spoke, because that's been your.
Everybody knows Spoke.
Yeah, everybody knows Spoke. But outside of that, because you're going up to Fort Worth, you're going out some different spots. What are you enjoying the most playing right now?
Well, I really enjoyed Lukenbach on Saturday. And Lukenbach's one of them places I've been doing almost once a month for 16, 17 years. So I had that was cool. Of course, I do that a lot, but man, I'm still really stoked when I get to go up to the stockyards and play up there.
Okay.
And that one's spaced out enough because, you know, we only do it about 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And it's like, you really look forward to it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times what I'll do with clubs is, a lot of times there's clubs out there that want me to play like every other month or once a month. And I'm just like, man, if I do that, I'm gonna hate this freaking place in like a year.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's some of them I'm sure like you get burned out on them. Like they're just not.
Yeah.
I mean, stockyards in Euro normally up at Longhorn.
Yeah. Little Red's Longhorn Saloon. Yeah, we'll be back there April 12th. Okay. I got a busy April. Matter of fact, you know what I need to do after this? I need to post online. I think it's on my website. But I need to like make a big social media push because I've got a lot of cool gigs coming up.
Well, yeah, you got a bunch of that, and then because April's also Real Ale.
We've got the Real Ale Brewery anniversary show, and then I've got another couple cool gigs, and I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But it's gonna be a fun month. April's gonna be a good one. So hey, and then maybe I gotta talk to Gio and Phoebe, but we're trying to put that first actual single out. I think around middle of April.
There you go. In the video too, or?
Well, I want to, but we're waiting on the final updates.
Okay.
Which is probably me need to. I thought me and Gio need to sit down and get figured out. But anyway, folks, get ready. In about 2 weeks, we got the first single dropping off the new album, and the song's going to be called "Lost in Time." So yeah, and we already kind of teased it a little bit. We'll put out some more teasers and stuff like that. But we've got a guest in the house.
Yep,
we do, and. I told him maybe we'd get him on early because we started late, but we just rambled again for a while, which is great. Also,
we didn't go as long as we normally do.
I wanted to get him on. He's a guy that I've known. Matter of fact, let's just get him on because I can't remember everything. I'm sometimes horrible at this. Let's bring him in.
Yep.
There he is, Mr. Stephen Castillo.
Get his mic turned. Get his
mic turned on. Turn that thing on, buddy.
You got to be able to hear this.
Here he is.
Beautiful voice.
Here he is. Can you hear him? No?
Can't see it.
Oh, it's not on yet.
Just plug it.
How does he turn it on?
Hold it until you see the light.
Turn it on until you see the light.
There should be a little blue light.
So they tell you in church.
Oh, hell, you can on. Yeah, just try
let's take it off.
We just got these new microphones.
Moving up in the world.
Well, yeah, man. Just scale up. There we go. Mr. Stephen Castillo. Here he is. The one, the only.
It's way too fancy a microphone.
There's another song to write. We're scaling it up one piece at a time.
All right. Can you hear him?
All good.
I'm making too
All
much
right.
noise on it. Sorry, I can't get it
Now
clipped.
that we've given the mic so much attention, let's introduce him.
That's the fun thing about a podcast.
I need my mom to put it on for me.
There you go. Can you hear him? All right, folks. This is my buddy Steven Castillo, and Steven, how long have we known each other?
I think you and I probably met for the first time maybe about 2018.
Was it 2018?
Something like that. Yeah, probably the first time we shook hands, or maybe 2019, somewhere in that ballpark. I have a memory of walking up to you really drunk after you played at the White Horse one night and just introducing myself.
Well, hell, I was probably drunker than you.
You might have been. I don't know. I was so nervous I couldn't have told. I couldn't have told probably. But I remember kind of walking up to you and just being like, "Hey man, like I'm singing, kind of. I'm trying to sing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get started. I'm coming up, I guess, maybe something." Because I was dancing a lot back then.
Yeah.
I was mostly just honky tonking.
Yeah.
Dancing and I think that was the first time we really kind of made eye contact and shook each other's hands and talked, and then it wasn't long after that I started playing the front room at the Spoke.
That's right. I forgot about that, man. Yeah.
You dance? You part of like a dance group or just you just dance?
He was just out honky.
I mean, I saw you dancing tonight.
He was out honky tonk.
I was honky
hit all the spots, White Horse, Broken Spoke, Little Longhorn. But they do have some dance cliques.
Yeah,
there are some.
Yeah.
And they're all good people. But
yeah. But I was honky tonking first. I mean, I was just I was dancing sometimes 6 hours a night, 7 hours a night, and I was, I was just, I got divorced in 2017 and needed community and needed something new to do and activity and all that kind of stuff. And man, I mean, the honky tonkin was just there for me right when I needed it. I jumped into that community pretty full steam.
But you started playing music shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually were good, so that doesn't mean that you just picked up the guitar and started. You were playing before that.
Yeah, well, I was a music student at SFA, vocal performance, and I played church music for a long time, 15 years. I was playing guitar and singing at church, and around the time I guess I started writing some music, and maybe like 2014, I started writing some songs, and I think even at the time I kind of knew. I heard some potential, but I knew the songs weren't quite where they needed to be yet, and I wasn't really getting a whole lot of traction on what I was doing. And I put the guitar down, and I didn't really touch it for almost 2 years. Probably 2 solid years. I barely touched the guitar.
The scariest thing is there's a lot of scary things when you're starting out. Hell, there's a lot of scary things when you've been in it for 20 years. But it's when you're first writing music.
Yeah.
And you are like, all right, I'm gonna play this for some people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're freaking terrified.
Oh yeah.
Because it's probably not good. Yeah, but
you're throwing yourself out there.
Yeah, man. But
it's
the toughest thing ever because man, you have to write and you have to perform because you're never going to get better if you don't continue to fall over until you finally are able to stand up and run and your songs get better, your craft. I mean, it's like anything else, man. It's a craft. You have to work on it.
You got to do it.
And it's absolutely terrifying when you're first writing songs and everything, and you need to get better, but you need the experience and writing to get better. But I'm pretty sure that's what you
absolutely
too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that with performing too. I mean, I remember the first few years I had a band together when I was younger. It was just like, man, before the gig, I'd just be so nervous, almost peeing my pants.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting part of what you guys do is that as you're growing and learning, it's very public.
It is.
And you may not be playing sold out Kyle stadiums or whatever it may be, but you're still in front of a group of people
and you don't want to
don't know,
and you want to do the best you can,
and putting something out personal.
And a lot of, and then you got to learn. There's just little things like learning how to be the best you can be on stage, because a lot of times, man, you'll come home and be like, "Man, I sound great playing in front of us. We're just in the shop here. Why couldn't I do that on stage?" Well, that's another learning process. How to get on stage and bring your A game right then and there when it needs to be done. But anyway, so I go down I digress. But
no, but I mean, I that rabbit hole is really familiar to me. It's dark, but it's familiar.
Yeah,
I think I know my way through that little rabbit hole.
So 2017 divorce, starting going out. You already got a little background in music, but now and then you started playing a little bit. Where was like the first few gigs you had in town? When did you move to Austin though?
2009.
2009.
From where?
I grew up in Nacogdoches, but
Okay.
I
Well,
moved
East
here.
Texas.
I moved here from Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I was at the White Horse one night. I think kind of late 17, maybe. I was dancing, and I'd been dancing for 4 or 5 months, and really out a lot. And I was like, man, this music's great, but I can write this, because the stuff I was writing before was kind of sad singer-songwriter stuff, And I was like, this upbeat country stuff, man, I can write this.
Yeah.
And then from November, December of that year till about March, April of that next year, or really like even the summer, I wrote what became the first Western Express album.
Which is the name of his band, Western Express.
The band is called the Western Express, but we didn't become a band until 2019. But I had started writing those songs, and I wrote kind of a suite of songs over about a 3-month period that I remember listening back to the songs I was writing and thinking, okay, this is way better than what I was doing before. Like I feel much better about putting these songs. Having that growth experience in public felt a lot more comfortable.
Was Quesadilla Mamacita one of those?
It came later.
But
okay. That was actually probably the last song I wrote for the record, I think. Okay. Yeah.
I like that song.
It's stupid.
Hey, man.
I thought it was good. Funny, but
it's funny.
Dude, one of the most popular requested, top 5 requested song I get is Loserville. It's just like a funny,
good song
silly song,
Yeah.
But so what made you all of a sudden, was there something that clicked when you was like, all right, this feels natural writing this? Is it because you changed kind of how you were writing, or was there just something that curtailed into where you were at in your life? When did it click and you're like, man, this feels good? Because I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember whenever I was like writing and recording these things, shitty recordings, and writing, and then one day it was just like, oh man, I think I found my style. I think I found what's grooving with my voice and how I do things. I remember that, but was there a moment like that?
There were a couple of them, and a lot of it, I'm sure, like you. I mean, for so much of it for me was coming back to my roots. I mean, I grew up on radio country of the 80s and 90s, and like a lot of people, I was still listening to the old stuff a lot, but I didn't embrace it as something that I thought I could do myself. It just wasn't ever something that really crossed my mind, and I played the last show I played before I quit was this really shitty small South by gig on the East Side that no one was at. It was outdoors and it was hot. But I had a couple friends come, and my friend Lauren Simpson, who lived here at the time, afterwards, she's like, upbeat country stuff, that's for you. You can do that. I know, like, I heard you today, you played a couple of those songs, and she's like, this is what you should do. Of course, it took me another 2 years to really come around to and really embracing that, but I never forgot that moment because I really trusted her ear. I knew she had good taste in music, and I knew she was willing to shoot me straight.
It's important to have critics that
absolutely
you can trust around you.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife's like, well, when we met, if your music had been bad, I don't know what I would have done. I was like, I need you to tell me that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, tell me when it's good and tell me when I need to improve something.
So what were some of the first gigs you played when you got rolling here? Now, when you first started, I can't remember. And first off, disclaimer, I feel bad that I don't know more about you because you've been so good to me. No, for real. He would come out to the shows. I'd have him sit in all the time. And it was like a vice versa thing. I gave me a chance to go pee, but I wanted him to get in front of people, and so.
I hope you know how much that has always meant to me.
I wish I knew you better. I feel bad because we've known each other a long time. That's why I wanted you to come on this podcast. We could talk a little bit more about what's going on, and I should know more about Stephen, but I don't. That's why I'm glad he's here.
No,
I'm glad to be here.
To find out all we don't have a time. We
no,
stay here
man.
for 6 hours.
I got a 12-pack of beer.
I'm doing great.
What were some of those first gigs? Was that was the front room at the Smoke one of some of the first stuff?
It came about a year in, I think, for the first time. When I started playing my first gigs in the spring of 2018, I had been divorced about a year. I had a $900 a month 1-bedroom apartment up in Crestview.
You used to have that badass Ford truck.
I still have it, but I didn't get that till way later.
Okay.
But in 2018, I did not have a car, and I didn't have a PA.
Oh no.
And I didn't have. I had an old shitty guitar that was like a $500 China guitar with a pickup in it, and I had songs that I'd written. I'd written these songs, and I was like, I don't know what to do with them, but there's this restaurant. Do you know the restaurant TLC?
Mm-mm.
It's in the where they rebuilt the new where the highball is and all that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's that like seafood restaurant
Okay.
right there,
Okay.
right? And somehow I got in touch with them, and the general manager was like, man, we need someone Sunday afternoons, like 2 to 4 or something like that. He's like, you got to bring your own PA. He's like, we'll pay you $50. And I remember in the email saying, well, can you do 75? And he's like, no.
I know that. Yes, right.
And so I rode the bus across town with my mic stand and a little acoustic amp and my guitar. And every other weekend I had my kid, and the kid would come with me. And I just started doing it.
Dude,
and I just started showing up, and there was no one there. And it was empty. I guess they were trying to do this kind of like Sunday Fun Day thing, They have like an outdoor patio, and people would come in and order their food and walk right past me out onto the patio, to sit outside. No one listened. I would get some friends to come every now and then, but you can't get your friends to come to fucking TLC on Sunday every weekend,
Yeah.
And the not the general manager, I never actually met him, but the restaurant manager was never nice to me ever. She was always telling me to turn down. She never had like a nice thing to say
Almost
to me.
Like, why do we have this?
She's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And I stuck it out as long as I could, and I did that for a while. And then I kind of put a little band together. We were terrible. And we played a few shows. We were playing that place on 290 right there. Now it's called something else. It used to be called 290 West.
Oh yeah.
Now
it's right here by the house.
It's right here. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
They shut down.
Now.
It became something else. It was like 4 different things since I've lived out here.
It has been a few different things.
God, what was the last name of it? Because it's so funny. I don't even know. We just continued to call it 290 West, even though it had changed 2 other names.
I did the same thing. Yeah,
but it was right near here. We would go in there a lot, man. Drinks. It was a good late night beer drinking dive. But So you played there a little bit.
Played there a little bit, and then just a little bit, and then that went on through kind of 2018, and then 2019 is when I started the Western Express that summer.
Okay, that's when you started the band with the name.
Right.
And you had your friend that was the bass player.
Yeah, Phil, and he just left the band about a year ago. Yeah. He moved on to do some other stuff.
He was always a nice guy.
He's a great guy. Yeah, great dude, and we had a great working relationship. He really handled business, booking. He did all that I didn't want to do. And I wrote all the songs and kind of handled the creative side of it. The band you've seen it. The band has like an aesthetic. We got like a look, and we've got a thing. And I really was kind of like the ethos of all that.
These guys had a sharp look, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not today.
Oh, great, dude. I'm the worst at trying to look sharp, man.
I was trying to figure out, because I hadn't met you before, and we were at the anniversary thing, and you came in.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw you dance. I was like, that guy's got some style right there.
Man,
and then you called him up on stage. I was like, he can sing too. Great.
Yeah, man. Dude, Steven looks sharp, man. He always had good look, good vibe, man. Yeah.
Well, and then, for the first year we played we started playing the Spoke Restaurant that summer, that 19. And I bought a car. Finally, I bought that truck in the summer of 2020.
Was that an 88 or an
88? Yeah. I took it to the shop this morning to get a few things fixed on it. Yeah.
You should have brought it over here, man. We could
have fixed it up for me. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I'm always tooling around with something.
I should have done that. You could have taught me something.
Yeah, man. You got the camper shell on it.
Yeah, and a queen size mattress in the back. I built a platform back there. Put all my music gear. Oh yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I know those gigs suck. And for people out there listening on the podcast, if you want to start out, the gigs may suck, but that's how you meet people.
It is.
And you can't go to here and you can't play this place until you've kind of like, and I don't know, there's people out there that have networks before they even start and they're able to. But if you're starting from scratch, you don't know nobody, that's just what you have to do. You got to play shitty gigs where the people don't even want you there. You're wondering, what am I doing here? But you're always trying to figure something. Like when I would do those gigs, and I'm pretty sure you did the same thing, it was like, well, this gives me a chance to at least get some experience performing in people. And maybe I meet somebody, and maybe somebody comes through and goes, hey man, can you play acoustic at our patio for our kid's birthday party or something? And I know that sounds little, but you have to do that kind of stuff.
But those are wins.
It's all little wins to, to build up. But what I really wanted to ask you, because I'm kind of a nostalgic person and I know those gigs suck, but every now and then, do you kind of miss that? The simplicity of like your young kid there and and the struggle and the like, man, I just want someone to hear this one song. Maybe there's one person. I can remember playing those gigs and it's being like, remember, there's like one person I can tell's listening. I'm just like really playing for them.
To you.
Yeah.
The Spoke front room was it for me. Because I played that front room gig for 4 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes
you did a lot. I remember you'd bring your son, and he would come back there and hang out with us, and he was skateboarding in the back,
dancing on the,
and then we'd be setting up, and he'd be out in the back skateboarding, and then come in and like help us carry a speaker or something like that. Yeah. He's got to be in high school now.
Yeah, he's 6 foot tall. 14, 6 foot tall. God, I can't believe it. I know
he was a good kid. I haven't seen him in 2 years, but he's still a good kid.
He's a great kid. Yeah, he really is. And and he was really a trooper back then because, that first year we were playing this. I mean, sometimes we were playing it 2 or 3 times a week. When James needed someone and there was no one to cover, he'd call me up and I would say yes. Like always, the answer is yes.
Because it's like a perfect. That's a perfect gig to really shape and mold your craft.
And you and I have a similar experience with it, which is that I think that gig, at least for you and me, has proven that you can really get what you want out of it if you're willing to put into it. If you treat it like it's just a free gig and no one cares.
If you treat it like shit, you're gonna get shit out of it.
But man, we had a little following by the time. I mean, we moved to the back room eventually, and we had a little following. People coming to see us on Tuesday nights. It was a great 1-2 with us before you.
Those are probably some of the best Tuesday nights we had. Is when you had gotten pre-established in the front room.
Yeah,
and then we were able to tag it. With you in the front room and then me in the back room
It really worked.
It really, we saw it. We benefited.
I think we both, it was really symbiotic, right? Yeah. And I think that, and I don't know. It's funny. I think that I joke sometimes that I started out as like the guy from Grand Theft Auto. Because when you start out, you're just like the guy with a shitty cell phone, and you don't have any money, and you don't have anything. And then by the time you finish the game, you're on top, And I'm like, that was me, man. Like, because that first year we played the Spoke Room, I rode the bus every single time across town. Yeah. Carrying my stuff with me and taking the kid. We rode the bus.
Known that, I'd have probably helped you out even more.
Do you feel like that shaped who you are today?
Absolutely. I dug it out of the dirt, man. Just like you did. You dig that shit out of the dirt, and you find you find your craft, and you find how to entertain a crowd. And, by the time I quit doing the front room, I was like, if we're not making $200 in tips in a 2-hour gig from 6 to 8 at the Broken Spoke, we are not doing our job.
Yeah.
You made $150 in 2 hours. Great, man. You almost did your job tonight, But you find how to entertain. You find how to find those people, how to interact with the crowd.
You really shape your craft.
Right. Yeah. You write songs that work.
And then it moves you on to other things. And there's nothing wrong with moving on to other gigs and other type things. Everything there's for a purpose, and you use it for the best of its ability.
Yeah, I'm so thankful.
And you guys went on and did bigger stuff and things like that, and so that's pretty cool, man. I got it. So you miss those days?
Sometimes I do. I mean, being back there, I hadn't been to the Spoke before. When I came to see you a couple weeks ago, I had not been there in a couple years, really. And it was great to be in there. It felt nostalgic, and I have so much respect for that place that, until you invited me onto the stage one time. Even on the off times when there was no one playing, I'm not walking on that stage until I'm on that stage. Like I wouldn't even walk up there. I had
no idea.
I had so much respect for it.
I just knew that this guy was in the front room and he was good and he was taking it serious. And he was really, and because he would come up and ask me questions, and I'm not the guy that's going to walk up to a new artist and be like, man, you should do this and this because it's unsolicited. If somebody wants to come talk to me, I'll give you some advice. Yeah. You may not like it, but I'll, and everybody's not the same, but I'll try to give you what I've learned. And I just saw him there one night. I was like, man, get up here and sing. Come on, man. I need to pee too. We don't ever take a break.
The old pee break filling.
And it was solid,
the first night I met you was, and made me think of that was, and you don't remember this because you knew who the hell I was. I was at it was at Jesse's record release party.
And you said that. I don't remember meeting you.
Jesse, well, it was awkward. I was in the bathroom.
Oh.
And then we were walking out of the bathroom. But
Jesse Dayton?
Jesse Daniel.
Oh, Jesse Daniel.
was having a release party. And he called Weldon on stage. And you and I had been standing next to each other. I just didn't notice.
Oh.
I'd seen you play a few times before. And then he called up there. I was like, wait, what? And then you jumped up there and he had you sing a song or two. And then you came back down. I introduced myself, and you ignored me. But no, I'm just kidding. You were very nice.
I always try to be cordial.
You were very, very nice.
But you never know how many beers I've had.
No, I was. Yeah, you were there. The only reason I stopped you, I was like, "Hey, did you know he was going to pull you up there?" And you're like, "No, but I'm good with it," or whatever.
Jesse. So like,
it was out of the blue,
dude. I'm talking to Jesse. Yeah. Me and him talk on and off, and he's like, man, I'm going to be at your CD release. I want to be there. I have that night off. Me and my buddy are coming. He's like, dude, you're going to get up and sing. I'm like, cool, man. No big deal. And, I forget, like, his shows are shows. I mean, like, it's like, boom, intro music. And, it's 90 minutes. And
it's like,
it's pre-planned. It's badass.
Yeah.
It's like a stage show.
It's a stage show.
Yeah.
And, and I forget that. And I'm thinking, how like I do. I mean, I kind of have a show, but, I'll stop bullshit and ask somebody to come up. So I'm thinking it's going to be like that. Boy, he's like, well, I'm going to get you up, man. You're going to sing a song. And he starts his show, and I'm like, that's right. He has like a full planned show. I'm like, how the hell is he going to get me up?
Yeah.
He doesn't tell me what song. He assumes I know this Waylon Jennings song. Yeah. He's into it, and he's just like, we're going to get my buddy Weldon up here. And I'm like, I feel like I'm like ruining the show here.
Should I pull up my phone with the lyrics and make sure I know them all?
And I'm thinking, man, I didn't even, I did know the song. I didn't know it all the way, but like I knew it enough to fake it through.
Yeah.
And he's like, great job, good job. And I was like, okay, man. Well, hopefully I didn't ruin the fucking show for you. But,
no, you did fine. It was funny, but
I haven't seen him play in a while.
Yeah, they've cut back a little bit. They got a lot of stuff coming up pretty soon.
Do they?
Yeah.
I first saw him around that same time, 2019.
Okay,
roughly the same time. Yeah, he was coming into town, and I saw him for the first time.
Both these guys coming in skinny and 6 foot tall and
dress sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff you love to be jealous of.
I saw him play the front room at the Spoke for the first time. I was there that night.
He told me he did that, and I was like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, because James used to, that was like always the thing. You can't play the back until you play the front, no matter what. Doesn't matter who you are.
It's like a passage over there. But I think a lot of people, like the Spokes, that place, like at least locally, it's one of those places where it's like, you talk to so many people and they're like, that's where I broke in. Like, I played there. And I think, I'm not a musician. I'm a lover of music, as you often remind me.
Well, he does. He knows so much about like all these artists. I'm horrible.
Yeah, I'm a country music addict. Like I've realized that.
Man.
Like after driving 14 or 15 hours, and I literally kids are like, "Can we listen to sales?" No. Use your own headphones. But I'm like listening to what you guys are talking about. It's so similar, like business and like it's just it's the same thing. Like I think there's such an important message for whether it's a young artist or a young business person that, hey, if you want to get somewhere, you've got to have that vision of where you want to get to, but you got to understand what you've got to do at the beginning to get ready to get there.
It's because
if you're put there too fast, and that's what you see that happen in business and in music. If somebody gets there too fast,
see it in sports,
they're not ready. Right. They're not ready for everything that comes along with that, right? Like because it's not just can you play in front of that many people or can you write a song? Right. It's can you manage this and can you handle this and can you deal with that?
Mm-hmm. Do you have the maturity level, which I screwed up a lot early on in my career and I still do now, to make sure you're taking full advantage of every opportunity?
Yeah.
That's good. You're not just blowing it off.
This
gig's stupid. I don't want to do it. Well, there's always something you can learn,
Yeah.
There's always something you can learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's what those gigs, so when we started the Western Express, the first show we had was Weros.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
They gave us like on Sundays they would have like a band from 11 to 2 or something, and then they would do another one. Yep. But there was like an hour break between bands.
That's a great place to get.
And we would play that. Yeah, absolutely. And we would play that like 1 hour set between the two bands.
People come out to dance.
We brought our own sound system to set up for a 1 hour gig. We played in the dirt next to the stage, and we played that first gig. And I don't think it was really intended to be like a residency. But I put a death grip on it. I was like, no, every week. I will be here every week to play this show. And to your point, and I think it's important, is that we learned how to take it seriously. We had a set list. It was printed. We knew keys. Yeah. Everybody, like we practiced for this 1 hour gig.
That's right.
And we I promoted it. I had to practice promoting. I didn't know how to do that. I had to learn how to get people to the show and get people excited to come out. Knowing where they're going to be beforehand, which was Joe's down the street. It's like, okay, how do we get the Joe's crowd to come over? And like all those things were so important for this really kind of a bullshit gig that only paid about $100, really, but it
Get the
didn't
most
matter.
out of it.
That was not the point. The
And
point
a meal,
was
right?
and a meal. We
Take
got a meal and
advantage.
$100. Yeah. But same thing is like I learned to work a crowd there.
Yeah.
I learned how to get the tip money in the jar.
That's
I
right.
learned how to promote. I mean, all those things would not have been possible without the attitude of this is serious.
Yep.
This is the big stage. Even if it doesn't look like it, we're going to treat it that way.
That's right.
You know.
Well, I think that's another good principle for people to look at, right? Like if you take where you're at and treat it with the respect that it deserves, just like you would anything else, that's how you hone your craft.
Absolutely.
It's not like, it's not just the writing of a song like screw it, I'm new or whatever it is. It's like, hey, I've got to treat this relationship like it's gold because I'm looking at this relationship as a potential for many relationships.
Right.
And you get through if you get known as the asshole in town or the guy that doesn't show up,
Right.
or the guy that comes in and plays like crap.
Which
time.
I have been there before.
Well, I mean, everybody has those times, right? Like
Absolutely.
those are learning experiences where you figure out, like, hey, sometimes that's how you figure out how this stuff really matters, right? Right? Like it does matter if I walk in and shake the owner's hand if he's standing there, or
you know what I realized too, like early on, I ruined a lot of stuff early on in my career, but what I realized is like a lot of those little gigs, like if you're playing just a random club on a Monday night, a lot of times there's a guy in the industry that will come watch, and you have no clue who he is. And if you are giving not 100%, you'll never know.
It shows pretty quick.
You'll never know. You'll never know that guy was even there.
Yeah. I mean, you got to act as if all the time. To your point, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know when the guy standing next to the guy is somebody, right?
Do you know Bob Fuentes?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. He booked me at Warehouse. He was originally.
He used to book Warehouse. Matter of fact, I saw him the other day somewhere, and we had a margarita together.
What a guy! He's
always wearing that hat.
He always wearing the hat, and he's the smoothest, coolest dude you ever met. He came to my wedding last year, and I love that. I mean, it's like, man, this is the relationships you're talking about. Building those relationships.
He came to the Spoke about a few months ago, and I hadn't seen him in a while yet.
He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah,
really, really wonderful. Just human, so nice and.
So you got married a year ago.
I did, yeah. January.
I'm so horrible. I had freaking no clue. And you told me that. I remember you telling me that.
I may have. I don't know. I was real excited about it.
You were more excited about it than I was.
I was pretty excited.
I liked it. I was excited. Well, I hope you were.
Hell yeah.
So when was that? You said last
January. Yeah, last year. So we've been married
15 months.
a little more than a year. Yeah.
That's cool. And what's her name?
Tara. Yeah, we met back in 2017 or 2018. We were just dancing buddies, and we were buds, but we weren't close. And then I don't know, a couple years ago, we saw each other dancing for the first time in a while, and I was like,
struck up conversation.
What's up?
Everybody's looking at each other a little different.
What's up, girl? I was like, you want to have dinner? She's like, yes. And I was like, do you like oysters? She's like, yes. I'm like, let's go.
Good deal.
So,
dude, wow,
it's awesome. Yeah,
what club was it?
What? Where
y'all met?
Where we met? We probably White Horse.
Where's the club when y'all were like, oh man?
Oh, White Horse for sure. Yeah, when we kind of reconnected or connected like in that way.
Such a love connection.
Oh yeah,
White Horse.
Yeah.
White Horse.
I got so many songs about falling in love at White Horse, getting my heart broken, like the aftermath, like don't show up. I hope she doesn't come in. All those songs. Yeah.
That's another spot that drives a lot of good acts through.
Man, oh yeah, I love every time we get a chance there.
Yeah,
we play there. We used to play there about once a month, but we cut back a little bit. But
you and I played there on the same night
a
couple years back, and I played before. I think we played before you, and then y'all got up and played, and I was like, God, I feel like Bush League right now, man. I was like, he sounds really good,
dude. That gig. By the way, I'm wearing shorts. You can tell if you're watching, but I was just lazy today. But
I didn't know Tonkers were allowed to do that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Only on Mondays.
The Broken Spoke's closed on Mondays. You can wear shorts.
But no, the White Horse, man, it's a fun gig because we're kind of a traditional Texas dance hall-ish band. Even though I do a lot of my music, and we're just so used to those 3 and 4 hour gigs. But the White Horse, man, it's like you have a 90-minute. It's basically a 90-minute set, maybe about an hour 40. And so for me and the guys, we get to go in there and be like, okay, we don't have to like
drag it out.
We don't have to keep this maintain this level of performance for 3 or 4 hours. We can go in and just
hit them.
Yeah.
And so we go in there, and I don't even think we play a slow one the whole time. It's like Joe likes to call it our rock and roll set. I mean, we go in there and we turn the amps all the way up. Our steel player didn't even go to that. Ricky didn't even go to that gig.
Oh yeah.
So it's just me and Joe on twin Telecasters, and we turn them up all the way, and it's just boom, 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 and
that's what I remember about that night. Actually, I was like, this is like a rock and roll show.
I have a lot of people that come see us there, and they go, "Holy shit, that is like."
I gotta see. I haven't seen y'all there.
It's a totally different
show.
It's a
different vibe for everybody. I've seen several bands and groups.
So not only is it a cool place, but every time we get a chance to play there, we're always excited the band is, because we're like, man,
you'll tear it up.
We're like, they would get to do something different.
Yes.
Like, we're going to go in there and just melt faces. You know what I mean?
That's what I want to do there.
Yeah.
Melt faces.
Well, and you get a lot of people there. The crowd's a little crazy.
No, they get crazy, yes.
They're from all over the damn place.
Yeah. Right.
Like, we went and filmed an episode with Beth there for the dance.
Oh, really?
And so
4 nights a week she's there.
I learned real quick, like, because dealing with her, I kind of stood to the side while she was doing her dance thing, but half the crowd was like from Europe.
Yeah.
That day. Like, so you get like a really unique kind of group. You get the locals that come in, they're probably there most of the time, but it's definitely a cool spot to do some different style stuff. I was watching a clip from that the other night, like Rob Lyons played over there.
Oh yeah.
He was lighting it up.
That's
awesome. So, he was like, he's a hell of a guitar player. But yeah.
Did you? It has the Spoke was more like that in the past, a little more touristy.
It still
back
is.
In the day.
It has its ebbs and flows. You know, there'll be some weeks where, I mean, just buses of people coming in from, France and UK and Australia, and then sometimes not. But it used to be probably more like that. But like I said, we still have these nights where it's like
plenty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got like conventions in town and things like that.
Yeah,
too. So you get a lot of travelers.
Yeah,
maybe not international, but just from all over the U.S. So.
Right.
Now, that one thing that's been cool about that residency, and I won't go off on that too much, is like, man, people will put that on their part of their trip. They're like, oh, well, we have once a year we come to Texas, and the Broken Spoke is one night we go there, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'll see a lot of people like once a year, and I'm like, oh, this is my friends from Michigan, or my friend from New York, or
they come down,
or my friends from France or Australia, or whatever. But
that's
what's cool.
I asked him this earlier, but I don't know where all y'all are traveling around to right now. I didn't look at your shows for the rest of the year, but where all are you guys hitting, and do you have a favorite spot right now where you love to play?
Man, I really love the White Horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. And they got new monitors.
Do they?
And they sound really good.
Shit, I wouldn't know what to do if I could hear myself.
I know. But we recently played a short show right before South by at Hotel Vegas. Yeah. And it's not really like a country venue,
No,
they play like, it's rock. It's rock and roll, And
Yeah.
But man, it sounded awesome on that stage, and the crowd they were really loved us. I was shocked. I kind of felt like Waylon coming to Austin in the 70s, he's like, are they going to like me? Are they going to
heavy metal?
It's a lot of like metal and, young kids, just kids playing great music, but
it's not country.
They're not playing what I play, but the reception was awesome and it sounded really good. I think, the other thing I like is I go by like, sometimes when I think about where I like to play, like where it sounds good, but also like where the crowd is good. And those two things are not always the same.
Yeah.
It's hard for us, at least, to draw a good crowd at Saxon Pub, but man, that stage sounds
that sounds great.
Good.
That place is really
it sounds
engineered perfectly.
It's perfect, Mercer too sounds amazing.
Mercer does a great job.
It really sounds good, but it's hard for us to draw a crowd at those places. We just haven't quite built up that following in those places quite yet.
Where's the roughest crowd you play?
Roughest,
or are there even rough crowds anymore?
We talked about this.
Like everybody's
it doesn't happen. It doesn't really. People ask that. I tell people we're like, oh, honky tonkin', and I think they imagine fights and
Roadhouse,
beer bottles being thrown.
Yeah,
and
none of them are like that.
I started going to the White Horse originally in 2013, 2012 to see John Evans play back then, and I remember seeing some rough shit back in those days. But really, I mean, the time I've really been going, I don't think I've seen a single fight. Or anybody.
We were very peaceful.
Well, we talked about that on the episode 1. Remember?
Yeah.
It's like you don't see it anymore, and like I feel kind of bad saying this, but I kind of miss it.
Well, it's so there were years. There were years where I didn't go into them, right? So I went from my stage where I was one of the guys starting all the damn fights, being in them, and then I didn't go in for a long time, and then going back in now over the last several years, it was odd to me at first. I was like. I walked in, I was like, everybody's so freaking nice. Why's everybody, Ain't been a fight all night.
Yeah, no one's getting mad.
Yeah, and no one's thrown a bottle down. Nobody's knocked their girlfriend out.
Well,
Yeah.
I say that.
You know?
I forgot. Back in February, we played Little Longhorn up in our Little Reds up in the soccer. There was a fight.
Oh,
Yeah, there's still a few up there.
But I don't know what it is.
that's Fort Worth, man.
There was a fight, and I remember when it happened, like way back by the bar, and there's like so many people in there. I couldn't really see. I just see a scuffle and a police officer come in.
Did you get all excited?
I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
It's good old time. It's back.
Man,
we are back, baby.
Back. Look what I did.
We are back, baby.
Yeah, they had a fight, and then I just keep playing, and then I was talking to the bartenders afterwards. She's like, "Yeah, some guy, blah blah, came in over there," and I said, "Cool," and they were like, "We had to get him out." I was like, "Sounds pretty awesome."
Yeah.
They're like, people are upset. I'm like, great.
Doesn't bother me. Put the chicken wire up, man. Let's go.
Man. Let's get with it, son.
Well, and the culture has changed so much, even just in the time I've been honky-tonking, even just since 2017. I mean, you mentioned Beth, you know, and I think, especially in Austin, the dance lesson community, the dance lesson phenomenon has exploded the community in terms of size.
It's definitely a different.
And it's a different crowd.
Anywhere else.
You think so?
Yeah.
It seems like it's trickling out into other places, but it's really exploded here. I mean, I've seen there's been whole generations of dancers that have come and gone just in the time that I've been doing it. And it's not that crowd. They're not the rough crowd. They're they're normal people who they want to go dancing, and it's something fun to do. Texas and whatever, you know. It's a different crowd now, you know, than back then. There used to be chains and stuff at the
you come from
White
East
Horse,
Texas,
you know.
man.
Yeah.
Anytime when I was first starting out, anytime I went anywhere like north of Houston or East Texas, it was always a scrap.
Oh yeah. My brother used to go out and he's like, "We're going out to find a fight tonight." I'm like, "Why?"
That was it. Like, it was get drunk, fight, and then get a girl. And,
Ain't nothing else to
normally
do.
It was in that order.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, or you tried to pull a girl and it belonged to someone else who belonged to someone else, and then he got all mad at you.
That was the ultimate trifecta.
That was the trifecta. It was just it was just a bunch of.
Stephen, I always wanted to ask you. You come from Nacogdoches, which is probably why you went to SFA, right?
Went to SFA,
Boston University.
Yeah.
Where did this love of like older nostalgic country music come from?
Yeah, it came. Well, you know, I listened to the radio growing up, and
Whose phone is that? My phone? Oh, I thought we had it where it wouldn't ring, but anyway.
You good?
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's podcast, man.
We're podcasting.
It may be opportunity.
You got editing capabilities. This is great.
So tell me about this.
My mom was really young when I was born. She was like 15 when I was born.
Wow, your mom was 15.
She was real young, and she did what any teenage girl, I think, of that era would do, is that she bought records.
Yeah.
And she just listened to the dude. I heard "Rope in the Wind."
Shit, yeah.
Over and over. I knew every single word to that record from 3 months into it, or after it was released.
I gotta interject here. So
please, I love that CD.
There's 2 albums that, like, when I was a kid, I sang along with, and I could hit every note, every lyric,
every little trill, and every little.
One of them was the Pure Country album, and the other was Rope in the Wind.
Rope in the Wind,
one of my most favorite albums. I mean, I could emulate Garth Brooks on every one of those songs when I was like 10 or 12 years old. I would just be like singing along so much. That's so funny you brought that up. That's crazy.
That record had like 8 #1 hits on it, or something like that. It was like a lot.
It was almost like the whole record.
It was like, I mean, it's really top to bottom one of the most amazing albums.
It was his third album.
I think so.
And I really didn't like anything he did after that. But those first 2 albums, which was like the self-titled.
Well, you like the Chris Gaines.
No Fences.
Do you remember that shit? That was crazy.
That was crazy.
But that was his third album, and it was so amazing, man.
It really was.
92.
Yeah, 91 or something. Yeah, it was like.
So your mom had that CD?
She had a bunch, you know, and I heard those first 2, like the. George Strait greatest hits, like 1 and 2.
I remember those.
I knew
50s,
every
50 number ones or whatever.
No, even before that. I'm talking about
the old ones.
The 80s.
Yeah, I have those too. Yeah.
I knew the same thing.
Yeah.
I knew every little trill. I could, at age 4, I could start singing the next song between tracks.
How old are you?
41.
We're the same age.
Yeah.
I'm 42.
So when y'all were doing all this, I was 20.
Yeah, you were already spilling blood.
I was in the honky tonk doing the fight.
You were listening to Fall Out Boy.
Well, no, So like that album, that George Strait one you're talking about from
Yeah.
the '80s was I had heard country music. You know, I grew up in Texas, I grew up in Fort Worth, but I'd never really listened to it. And I took a trip like junior year or something like that of high school, which would have been like '90.
Hold on. I'm bringing up
To
this track
Colorado,
listing.
and some people that I was with, they had country music, and it was a long bus ride.
Yeah.
And I popped that in my Walkman, you know, and I changed my life. I never quit listening to country music again after the George Strait album.
Yeah.
And,
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's the one.
That's the sumbitch right there.
Yeah.
Hold on. I don't
Greatest
get to it.
hits.
Can I
Dude,
touch it?
the greatest hits 1 and 2.
Do you want to play something?
Those
No,
were
like,
It's
look
not
at
a
the
touch. It's not a touch screen.
Damn it.
Here.
that
thought it was 2025,
1 and
man.
2. The greatest hits 1 and 2 are
I wanna see the
so
track listing.
good. I mean, if you're thinking you want a stranger, at age 4, I understood some version of I've done a lot of things wrong, but I'm gonna be different.
Yeah.
Like I had some like vague life understanding of that, you know. Or
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Songs.
It's
I understood regret
Yes.
at age 4 in some capacity. You
That's
know,
cool.
whatever your 4-year-old brain can understand.
Listen to this.
You know?
This was the songs. This was that first greatest hits from 85.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Unwound.
Yes.
Which we do in the band.
We do too.
Down and Out. I forgot about that.
Love that
Since
song.
my baby left. Since my baby left. I'm down.
Yeah.
If you're thinking you want a stranger. I
Love
do
that
one.
song.
Great.
Yeah.
Foolhardy Memory.
We play that one.
Did it?
I've thought about recording that one.
Really?
I've thought
Do you
about
do
it.
you have a fiddle when you do it?
No, we do it on the steel.
Oh, you have the steel do it.
And it sounds. We have the steel and the electric guitar kind of doing like a call and response thing on it.
Wow.
It sounds
cool.
It sounds cool. Yeah.
So in other words, you're willing to make it a little different and maybe better.
Well, you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. The covers. You
Yeah.
know, it's like do it better, do it different.
No, what
Give
you
me
should
something
do
to think
is go
about.
Especially if
record
you're
it
gonna touch
exactly
George
like
Strait.
him, but not as good.
yeah.
It's like Crockett just redid Amarillo by Morning, I think.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's on his new album.
I
Charlie
didn't
Crockett
know
did.
that.
Yeah, that's that one that Shooter produced for him.
Okay.
And so it's not bad. It's his version of that. It's good. I thought it was pretty good. Which I mean, again, you're touching George Strait, so it's kind of like
Right.
you know some of these guys like you're dipping your toe into a pretty
Track
pretty
5.
cool.
Lana Del Rey.
Love it.
Yeah,
Man, dude, that's a song I've
Dean
never,
Dillon.
I've never done that song. I probably I don't get it requested anymore, but early on, everybody loved that song. I used to get
It's
it
a
requested
great
all the time.
song.
Amarillo by Morning. Fire I Can't Put Out.
Love it.
What is the first line of that? I'm finding out
How hot.
Yeah.
an old flame
that's right.
can burn. Yes, sir. You look so good in love. I used to do that song.
So
God.
good. That talking part
Yeah.
where he's talking to
Yeah.
Well, I know I've had a hard time not seeing the real.
you.
Yeah.
Tonight your beauty is shining through.
Yeah. I know I never took the time to let you know. So before he takes you away,
Please, let me say.
and that walk up, you look
Yeah.
so good in love.
Oh man.
Right or Wrong, which was, an old Bob Wills song.
That last one.
And then the last one, we do this one, actually. We do this a lot. Let's Fall to Pieces.
Yes.
Pardon
I
me.
mean,
You left your tears on
Dude, come on.
the jukebox.
Great album.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, and then like the Garth album you're talking about.
Oh,
like,
man.
it's like
There was so much that was just like
Sorry, I didn't mean to come.
it was.
Oh,
just,
no, that's fine.
Yeah. I
What
mean,
it's
I
there
think
for.
it was just kind of in my blood, you know. And then I didn't really have anyone in my family who listened to really old stuff. I discovered most of that later on my own. When I got into college, I started.
Wailing. And
Steven.
That's when I really started listening.
You want a beer?
Yeah.
You want a Fireman's 4 or Hans Pills?
Pills.
like college age is when you start realizing like outlaw country's a little bit, like you hear that. That's when I heard it the first time too. It was like college age. I was like, oh wait, these guys are a little different,
Right.
You know.
Cheers.
And,
Thanks. Thanks for having
It's
me.
good. Here, I'll give you a cheers, even though
Yes, sir.
with the old
It's
water.
great to
Hans Pills, this is our favorite beer.
Yep. Hi, Brad.
The official beer of the Weldon Henson shop.
We're playing there. We're playing there on the 19th. Also, I just saw this yesterday. There's like a little newspaperish thing that Blanco County puts out,
Yeah.
and I was on the cover of it holding this Hans Pills.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't grab one? You
Well,
should grab one.
Kevin saw it, and I
Okay.
said, "Grab me one," so I'll get it tomorrow.
You
I'll
got
have
to
to post
yank it out of some old lady's hand.
Yeah,
She's over on a park bench reading.
and they were like, "Missy, this guy, wanted or something."
That's
But
cool.
anyway, I know it was cool. I guess it's just for
Put the logo out. Make sure the camera can see it.
Yeah, right. This
Get
is the
on
best
there.
beer in the world, man. Anyway, so we're talking about music that inspired. And,
Oh yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
I don't want. I'm just going to piss a lot of people off, but I don't really listen to much George Strait after about 95.
Same.
Yeah.
Very little.
Very little.
And I feel bad. I need to look up who was that producer that did all this stuff in the 80s, because there was something about the way he mixed those drums and the way the snare hit was and the way there was just enough reverb on George's voice. And and you'll know what I'm talking about, but like I will hear a sound that an artist has, and then it will change over time when they get different producers. But whoever that guy was that did his stuff in the 80s, man, it was like that struck a chord with me.
I should look that up too. I don't
Blake
think I know.
Mavis, that's what it said, or Jimmy Bowen were the majority of it.
Okay, well, and well, Blake Mevis did his first 2 albums.
Yeah, and then
He moved to Jimmy Bowen. Well, both those guys, whatever they were doing, I'm telling you, man, there's something about. And George he's got a million number ones, and you'll hear one that's number one from, I like that Troubadour song. It's great. It's a great song. It came out in like 2008. But then there's something whenever Let's Fall to Pieces comes on the radio or Down and Out, and you get that sound that he had in the 80s. There's something that strikes a chord with me.
Yeah.
Now,
it sounds like a honky tonk.
Yeah.
Still, in my mind.
Yeah.
It meant a lot of those. Unwound, when that recording of Unwound to me sounds like a honky tonk.
Yes.
It doesn't sound like it's digitally produced and all this kind of stuff.
Friday Night Fever.
Yeah.
Everything, man, And so anyway,
I love that song.
That's my thing, man. When like one of those songs come on, it hits a chord with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I wanted a beer.
Yeah.
What about Blame It on Mexico? We cover that one sometimes. You know that one?
I don't know it. Now, when did he had his, that was
I
in
think
the 80s?
it's on the second. I think it might be on the second one, on the Greatest Hits 2. I think it's on there.
Who didn't someone else do that originally?
I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe.
We can look it up.
See, I'm looking all up the old chat. Blame It on Mexico in 1981.
It was on one of his first
September
album.
4th, 1981.
Okay, so maybe
Straight Country.
It was on Straight Country. Maybe it didn't make the Greatest Hits. I couldn't
Country.
remember, but
It's probably on one of them.
maybe. I love that song.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I like
his MIA and MIA new song's not bad. It's on
I haven't
his
heard
new
it.
album. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's kind of like one of those kind of a little more Florida sounding kind of vacation song.
Okay.
But it's his country. He's got a couple songs on his new one that aren't bad. There's been several albums in there that I was like,
folks, if you're listening, let us know what your favorite George Strait
Yeah,
song
do
is.
please.
Yeah.
I would love to know.
What is your favorite 80s?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you could clip it into decades, 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You
I
can.
kind of look at that with George and his early 90s stuff. Like, I kind of even lump in like his 1990, 91 stuff into the 80s because it was all just kind of still
Like Easy
still
Come,
there.
Easy Go. Was it like that early
was
90s?
more like 94,
Was
I
it?
think.
Okay.
I think that was until Garth hit, and then the
whole industry
the
changed.
industry
you had
changed
to.
because
and
everybody
Shania Twain
was
came
like,
out and everybody had to have a different sound. It had to be more polished.
Yeah.
But he had that one song about the "You Know Me Better Than That." It was like 1990.
Yeah.
You know me.
Well, then he did the movie.
The movie was badass.
And I got that movie. I still watch it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, that was one of those ones I just said, that soundtrack. I could sing every one of those songs, and I could sing it just like him. Probably not anymore, but
The King of Broken Hearts.
Yeah.
we do that
That's
song.
a great song.
We do that one.
I love that song.
Inner Dusty.
Yeah.
I went to George Strait to Fort Worth a couple years ago, and I shit you not, I turned around and there's a guy with a dusty jacket and a whole outfit
It's
on.
just like
Yeah,
full garb.
full dusty gear. And I was like,
man.
oh, right, I couldn't get my phone out.
So what's his name? Chandler, the movie actor that was in it, that was in Friday Night Lights. What's his name?
Oh, the guy that played the other kid, that played the backup
Yeah.
guy. I don't remember.
What's his name? Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler?
Kyle Chandler?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So anyway, he lives here in Dripping area.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a Texas guy now.
So I saw him one time sitting in the parking lot of HEB like years ago, and I didn't do it, and I'm so pissed off. And I told myself if I ever run across him again, like at Home Depot or something, because I saw him in there once before, I was going to do this, and I want to do this so bad. I want to walk up to him and just go, Buddy Jackson from the Road Crew.
Buddy Jackson.
Dude, I want to do it so bad.
That'd be a good bit.
But I'm always like, I don't know if he's going to be like, laugh at that. Or
He'll probably laugh.
Or if he's
Get him on the podcast and do it.
Yeah.
Dude, Buddy Jackson.
That
Have
would
him
be
on his Buddy Jackson.
Have him on it. Oh my God, that's brilliant.
I wanted to do it so bad, and I didn't, and I was like, if I ever see him again, I'll like.
Yeah, you got to do
But
it.
I'm also one of these guys. I don't like going up to celebrities.
Oh well, no, I don't feel comfortable doing that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy
But
that's like, can I have your autograph?
that's a
Can I have
rub.
picture?
I had to get really drunk before I came to talk to you the first time,
God.
man.
You got to give that's a rub though. You got to get that just through that one because it's.
But you
fun.
think he would laugh?
If he didn't laugh, he's got no sense of humor.
Dude, I just on the road crew.
You're not going up to him asking for his autograph.
Or he looks like he's just like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Like, that's the joke you got to pull out?
Of all the stuff he's done, that's why it's funny.
Kyle Chandler, I don't care how many badass movies you've made, how many movie star stuff you've done, you are Buddy.
You will always
Jackson
be Buddy
to
Jackson to me.
Oh my God.
Which is badass.
Yeah. I mean, God, if someone walked up to me and just knew me from something like that, I'd be like, dude, give me a hug. Come on.
What is it like to know that George Strait started your acting career?
Man, that's so badass. What was the lady's name that was the manager? I can't remember her name. But,
well, her name in the movie?
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember that. But I remember the actress name. I can't remember actress's name. I'm bad with that.
I can't remember.
You know who's good at that shit?
The one I used to get confused with.
The lady from Bull Durham.
Yes.
Shannon Sharon or something like that. Sharon Sharon.
Sharon.
But it's not her. But I get they always kind of had like a similar role they would do.
Yeah.
I'm horrible about that. You know, there's people out there like can name actors instantly, and they can name the movie. I'm not one of those guys. Joe, my guitar player, can do that.
I can do that with music a lot better.
I can do it with music, but not with movies.
Not with, I don't see enough movies.
I don't either.
I don't watch enough.
You know, we were talking about that kind of stuff earlier. We were a little. Hold on, what you got here? Leslie Ann Warren.
Yeah. Lula. That's what it was. Her name was Lula.
Lula. That's right.
That's right.
So, what's it? So, the guy that does all the piano stuff on my records, Ronnie Huckabee, he's in George Strait's band. And he's been in his band since '83, I think.
Wow.
And, I mean, just a down-to-earth guy. I love being in the studio with him.
Cool.
And we're just sitting there one day, and I don't remember what happened. I try not to, like, go in there and be like, dude, tell me about George Strait. What are you doing? You don't want to do that. We're there, and he's got his own life, even though he still plays with George, you know. But anyway, we're just sitting, you know, in between sessions, and we're just talking, and that movie came up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I had to be like, man, dude, I love that movie. And he was in it. He made it. He was in it. He's George's piano player. He's George's piano player in the movie. I mean,
he's Dusty's piano player.
I mean, his band was in the movie.
Yeah.
George's
they only added one guy in that was an actor.
Something like that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
And anyway, Ronnie's like, yeah, I still get a royalty check every year for that. It's about $50. And I'm like, well, it was probably more than that. He's like, yeah, I mean, it was more than that early on, but you know, now. And he's like, yeah, I usually go out and have a good dinner or something with it.
We're gonna have dinner on Dusty tonight.
Yeah, man. So I thought that was cool. And then Ronnie has this gold Rolex that he has. It's a 24 karat one, I think, date. And he goes, man, George gave us all one of these when the movie came out.
That's cool.
So they all got a real nice watch. And dude, George takes care of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't like he just gave him an expensive watch and was like, thank you. I mean, like,
I'm really glad to hear that, actually.
oh, dude, George.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
I've heard some stories about other artists in the past where they're bad to their road crew, they're bad to their musicians.
George has had that group of guys, you know, like kind of, I mean, every now and then one leaves, but if someone leaves, it's not because something bad happened.
Yeah, a couple of them retired.
Well, and a couple of them, his manager and one of the other, and another guy died a year or two ago.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Ronnie told me about it, and we'll have to bring him on one day to tell those stories. But I won't go and hit their person. You know, those were stories he told me in private, so I won't go in on those. But anyway, George takes care of his guys. Anyway.
I'm really glad to hear that. That makes me feel good.
Well, and someone once told me, and I don't know if it's true, that Garth Brooks would take care of his guys.
Really?
And I don't remember if it was him or Kenny Chesney does really good. But I don't know if it was Kenny or Garth. Someone told me one time, like, they get a new guy in the band and they would just give him $1 million and be like, this is because I know you're going to stay and you're going to do a good job or something. But I could be wrong.
Dang.
There's someone that knew. But anyway, we're going
someone
down
should
the
do that
rabbit
to
hole.
me.
Yeah. I got to get those guitar lessons going.
Well, yeah, George Strait takes really good care of his live band. He usually keeps the same core group, and they're like family. But
yeah, that's so cool.
I like going down the rabbit hole of George Strait songs, man.
Hell yeah. Oh, man. Me too. I love all those old songs. You know, they're so formative, you know, for me at a young age, you know. And I, you know, I was, because my mom was so young, you know, she listened to so much music, and I heard everything.
Yeah.
I heard George Strait, and it was not unusual for me to hear Michael Jackson and Motley Crue and, you know, later on Nirvana, and all of it sounded the same to me. None of it didn't feel weird to listen to one and then the other, you know. And And that I think has really shown, especially as we've gotten from that first record into the second one. Now we were just finishing up a second record, and we're doing a Michael Jackson cover.
Really?
Oh, nice.
No shit.
Can you say
Dirty Diana.
Oh,
I don't know.
And it sounds absolutely nothing like the original.
See, it's following.
I mean, like
Thank
it sounds
Steven.
literally nothing.
Lyrically, though, it's a great song.
It's a great. As a song itself, it tells a story.
Yep.
There's an arc to the story. I mean, it could be Marina Del Rey just as easily, because it goes. It actually goes somewhere.
Well, I'm excited about this.
I'm also really excited.
How far along are you guys on the album?
He's still working on the.
I'm done. All I'm gonna do is go back. We talked about Patrick. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and do some vocal overdubs and just fix a few things. But the tracking of the record's completely finished, and then we'll do a little mixing. But I got probably 1 or 2 days in the studio left, and that'll be it.
Get it done.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and that's just I don't know. To me, it was all music. The harmonies from one genre to the next are not that different. You know, if it's a story song and tells a good story and has a good hook.
I think it's cool when they take songs from other genres, and you can because that changes it enough too, right? Like where you can play it and you just say, because to your point, lyrically or musically, it's great. It just needs to. You can put your twist on it and introduce it to a whole new audience. And well, you got two things, right? It's older, so one audience may have never heard it. Right. Two, if they don't listen to that type of music, they may have never heard it and introduce them to that song. So that's
right. Cool. And Dirty Diana kills.
Yeah.
In the honky tonk, dude.
Really?
Because the way we play it, it's a 2-step song, and
I gotta hear this.
People love it. I mean, it brings the house down at the White Horse, dude.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I gotta hear this.
I'm excited to hear it.
Is there anything on like a video you got of it or anything, or is it
video? Maybe not. After we get done, I'll play it for you. Okay. We'll put it on a speaker and let you hear
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I keep trying to find the perfect Motley Crue song that I can cover.
It'd be amazing.
That was my favorite rock band.
Was it really?
I had all their albums.
They were bad.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie they did on Netflix?
The Dirt.
The Dirt. Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But
they did actually.
They did good on that one. Yeah,
pretty good job. Because
that band, I remember that band was the band that was like they were the big middle finger.
Of that,
yeah, man.
I remember I bought that "Shout at the Devil" tape. And I grew up in a real strict Christian. And I'll never forget sitting in the backseat of the car and I was all excited. I got it. And my dad shoved it in the thing. And it turned on. He popped it out and threw it right out there. And I was in the backseat like, I think I bought it with my own money.
No.
Like, that was $9.
We gotta unbox this here. So hold on. So Eric is probably Are you a teenager now? Are there
at that age? No, I think I was probably close. I was like preteen. What year did that album come out?
83.
So I was 10.
Okay, yeah. 10. So little
10 or 11. 10 or 11
goes into the Sam Goody music store.
Yeah, it probably was Sam Goody.
Or Hastings.
Yeah, and you got the tape.
Yep.
A Shout at the Devil tape.
Yep.
It's got a big pentagram on it.
Yeah.
They're interviewing Vince Neil one time, the lead singer. He's like, well, we're like, shout at the devil, not shouting with the devil.
That was my argument with my parents. I was like,
did you use that same thing?
The same one, yeah.
Oh my God, this is how they market
it. It didn't work.
Tell your parents that even though there's a pentagram and 4 dudes dressed up like women, they're shouting at the devil, not with it.
It's a Christian band.
It's a Christian band.
Yeah, and that's. I don't think we. So remember how that album opened up? It was
in the beginning.
It was like in the beginning.
Yeah,
it was like intro. We never even made it past that.
Oh my God!
And my dad's like,
your old man was just like,
throws it out the window.
My mom was like, get that out of the car. And I was like, no, back there sliding around.
Oh my God!
I didn't have a seatbelt on, so I'm sliding across the back of the car.
Dude, I have not laughed.
You're like, Tommy, come back!
Yeah. Oh, it was so heartbreaking.
Well, it's a good thing they didn't let it go into the shout.
Oh yeah, it would have been
shout.
That thing it eventually was going out the window. I don't know why I thought it was going to be smart to let them play it
in the car.
I mean, and then I can't even reach it. Right,
you're
I'm
trapped.
In the back seat.
Yeah, you're totally trapped.
If it had got into that, what was it? The one about Bastard and
the whole album was
a
kick-ass.
There was like 2 more that were even more satanic than. I mean, they're not really satanic. They were just
they knew how to push buttons.
That was the thing in that time.
Buttons,
they all were throwing stuff out like that.
Oh yeah. Ozzy was doing his stuff at the same time. Yeah,
What's the Kill? 10 Seconds to Love. That album was that. That album was an amazing album.
There's got to be a song. I'll listen to the album again. Let's see if we can pick out a song that's good for you to cut. There's got to be one you can twist. That'd be cool as shit.
One of the first people to really.
Would be a great Motley Crue song to cover. It's just I would have to work on it because I have a real low voice. Would be that the one that was on Dr. Feelgood. It was Don't Go Away Mad, Girl Just Go Away.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be
That'd
a
be
good one.
Yeah.
I don't want to do Home Sweet Home. Everybody knows.
No, it's too close to a country song already.
I always thought I could do Smoking in the Boys' Room, but I would do it just like it, so there's no sense recording it.
Yeah,
because that was a Brownville Station song.
that's an older. That was a remake.
And it's like a shuffle. You know,
Yeah,
it's just.
it's already kinda-
I think you got to pull something off "Shout at the Devil" like that.
Dude.
That album. You know, like
Dude, pull up the track list.
Okay,
Come on. I should know them all by heart as much as I've Doc 'em Dead Kid, man, that was my favorite one on that album. Remember that one? Doc 'em Dead Kid.
see, we got ChatGPT just went, "Oh yeah." I'm training this thing good.
Listen, Kill, Bastard.
Yeah,
God bless the children. Oh, they did the Helter Skelter cover.
that
man.
was a good cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, Red Hot.
Too young to fall in love. Knock 'em
that's-
Dead Kid. Too young to fall in love.
Maybe
Yeah.
one you could do.
And of course, that last song sucked.
Danger.
That was stupid.
And then Dr. Feelgood had some.
Dude, I can tell you the track listing off the top of my head. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
You ready? Here
Yeah.
we go. Here we go.
Hang on,
It
it's thinking.
was that intro one, whatever the name of that was, and then it was Dr. Feelgood.
That was
Yes,
89. Wow.
And then I think it was Slice of Your Pie, Same Old Situation, Kickstart My Heart. They had the ballad with the Don't Go Away Mad, and then they had the other ballad.
Yeah. You say Same Old Situation?
Yeah, Same Old Situation.
There was Without You.
Without You was the other ballad.
Rattlesnake Shake.
That was song sucked.
Yeah, that was not a good one. She Goes Down.
Stupid.
Time for Change.
Stupid.
Don't Go Away Mad.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like 3 on there that were just horrible. But that was that one they did with Bob Rock, man. It was just such a powerful sounding album, you know. But
that was when the spinning drum set came in and all that. Tommy just went.
Dude, my favorite one is I'd have to say between look at us, Texas Music Lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue is informative for all 3 of us, it seems.
Yeah.
Dude, no, my favorite 2 albums were Shout the Devil and the Girls album.
Oh yeah,
that was the one I heard the most. Was
Side.
Girls. Yeah.
Man.
that was good.
Yeah.
That was the one with all the strippers and bikes and motorcycles. It was great. Yeah.
I don't know why I liked it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that was a good.
We were talking about like recording styles and like sonics and things like that. You know, those old George Strait records, they had that like kind of specific sound to them.
Yeah.
But I think country music across the board, after like glam rock of the late '80s and early '90s, you start listening to like the drum sounds that came out of country music in the mid '90s. They were borrowing all that stuff from glam rock.
Yeah.
The sound of the snare, how hot it was. Remember like a Joe Diffie song had that hot snare.
Pickup Man. All
Yeah,
that
the snare was
there.
so hot, and
driving.
everything was like right up front with the drums, you know, and it's all so polished sounding.
Yep.
But they all, I've always kind of maintained that I'm like, they followed that trend when the rock and roll, you know, got real polished and glammy in the late 80s.
You got to take some from because you got to sell.
You got to sell it, right? Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm figuring Nashville pushed that because they're like, this is selling over here,
right?
Let's use it over there.
They're always chasing that pop sound, you know. Yeah.
Got to make that money.
Yeah.
It's called industry.
Absolutely. The good news about a lot of that '90s country is that while they may have been chasing it sonically, the music was still great. The song, there were so many great songs that still came out, like in the mid '90s. You know. Joe Diffie being having several of them.
My favorite time period of country music, and this is me going out on a limb here because I'm a big country music fan, but I really love how everything was about 88 to 92. Because it seemed like it was packed full back when you still had to be really good to make it, like you had to be an exceptional talent to make it. And there was just enough technology to put it kind of polished.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Digital was becoming a much bigger deal at that time.
And, you know, with the way they were producing and they had the technology to make it kind of sound bigger and polished. But then there was still this heavy, I guess, rooted sense to it from a traditional aspect. So I thought that was probably some of the best music that was ever made was probably about in there. You know?
Yeah.
So, and you see it right now because people are coming back to that right now. They want that. That's what they want.
That it is. It totally is.
I've got 2 songs on my new album that kind of sound like 1992. So
do they?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
We'll have to after this. We'll
swap some songs. Yeah. You know who had a big influence on me about? We're talking about doing covers from another genre and bringing it over. Is 2 Tons.
Yeah,
Two
man,
Tons of
2
Steel.
Tons of Steel,
He does that
Kevin.
punk
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
The I Want to
yeah,
Be Sedated.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
He did
hearing that for the first
From
time,
the
being like,
Ramones?
yeah, the
Yeah.
Ramones. I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
wow, you can do this. Like, and
Yeah.
people are two-stepping to it around. It's like if
He's
it has
doing
the
a,
right beat,
he's doing a 2 Tons is doing a thing right now where they're going and playing these like select theaters. I guess like whatever you call those kind of venues, where they're doing Buddy Holly.
Really,
Yeah,
like a
wow.
whole set.
It's like really good.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
Kevin's a
super
good dude.
cool.
Yeah.
I haven't really. I've shaken his hand once or twice,
He's
but
a
I don't
nice
really
guy.
know him. Yeah.
He's a real good dude. Me and him were both pallbearers at James White's funeral,
Oh, okay.
and we got to talking a whole bunch. And he's just a nice guy.
Yeah.
2 Tons of Steel, they kick ass.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. That dude,
He works.
Man, he's like 60 or 55.
Really.
Or 60, and man, he will play 4 straight hours and jump around
Crank
the
it
whole
out.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, if I did that for 30 minutes, I'd be out of breath.
Right.
What you're doing? I mean, the dude's he's a machine.
He really is.
He's great.
And
man.
they play every day.
They're
I mean,
play a
it
lot.
seems like,
Yeah, they play a lot,
over the
yeah,
years,
yeah.
he has a really full
I need to
schedule.
I need to go see them again soon. Now they'll crank up their Tuesdays at Green Hall here in about.
Oh
a
yeah,
month,
summer,
too.
right?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
summertime. They'll
Yeah.
start the 2 Ton Tuesdays.
Yeah.
All green.
I used to know a couple of guys in the band back in the day. His old bass player, who actually went on and played with Charlie Crockett.
That's
Jake.
right. Yes.
Yeah, Jake. He's my
Yes.
brother's best friend. They've
Okay.
been best friends for a long time, and Jake is a tremendous
I remember
bass
Jake, yeah.
player. I mean, unbelievable bass player. And I used to go sneak in. It was like the first time anyone ever put me on a list at a show. I was like, I'm on the list.
Well, we've got George Strait and Motley Crue.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
this whole
The
interview
Ramones,
episode is.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Y'all thought this was a country music podcast.
Oh, man,
You were
all
this
this
is-
goes into real country.
I mean, we were running behind today, and for the listeners out there, I told Eric when we started this is our 4th episode, so we're fairly new on this. But I told him that we're not allowed to really talk when you get to the studio.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
we got to save it for here. Well, we were running behind, and I bought some new microphones, and we couldn't get it figured out because I'm a bonehead and I didn't order the right cables. But we made something happen because Phoebe's awesome, our
Yeah.
producer.
Phoebe
and
figured
she
it out.
figured it out. But we could have had like episode like 4A and 4B because we were sitting over there after about 20 minutes of us not talking. It was like,
Yeah.
Well, this is awkward.
Yeah. Start itching to say
So we had like a podcast that we weren't recording, sitting over there looking at baseball posters and talking about Michael Jordan and the Bulls and
Oh man, yeah.
and stuff like that,
Heck
going
yeah.
on and on and on. But anyway, it's been a fun episode. That's for sure.
This is fun, man. I'm really glad I got to come be a part of this.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, we want to remind the listeners to make sure they give this a like and a follow.
Yeah.
On the
And
podcast.
share.
And share.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
please
share it.
do. We're just starting out. We're having a good time. We hope to have more great guests like Steven, and Steven's been great. But man, Steven, I tell you what, every time I see you, you make me happy. You've always been so respectful to me and supportive.
Oh man.
And when I see you at the shows, it was always like, man, this guy's cool. I wish I knew you better. I do now.
Yeah,
So
we're doing it.
but that happens, when you're in the music industry. It's like anything else, man. You're so busy doing your thing, and it's like you wanna get to know that person, but man, you got 20 things on your checklist to get done before the show, and you just have a chance to
You use a checklist? Man, I should
I
start
have it in
doing
my
that.
head. Now the checklist isn't very good anymore the older I get. But you have all these things you got to do, and really all you get to do is like exchange like pleasantries or whatever. Hey, how you doing? Blah blah, and you really want to know people. I mean, it's kind of like almost like how I guess I'd met you a couple times, and I didn't know anything about you, but luckily we got a chance to make this happen. But so I'm glad you came in.
Me too.
And,
you're like coworkers, kind of.
yeah,
It's like you can kind of get to know each other, but we're working and we're doing the
But
thing.
I wish I'd have got to know you better earlier because you're a good dude.
Oh, thank you,
and
man.
Your son is phenomenal.
He is great.
And we love your music. And folks out there, if you're listening, you got to go check out the Western Express, Stephen Castillo. And new album coming out here soon.
Yeah, we're
When do you
gonna
try to
start
do it?
doing some singles probably this summer. As soon as I finish up tracking everything I need to track on the record, I'm probably gonna do what you and I were talking about in episode 1A, which is
4A over there,
just start doing some singles and just kind of start putting some stuff out and
stuff to make a full album now.
It is hard.
This
and
will be the last one I put out here. In the
That's
next
what you
couple months.
mentioned.
I'll be doing just singles and stuff from now on. After that, this album comes out, just because it's just not feasible anymore in this business. But
yeah. Well, and I learned the first time it's like we put out several singles ahead of the record got all the way up to the record, put the record out, and had nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
That's it.
She just
it's like, oh, it's out there now.
And,
I guess somebody go listen to it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the album.
Yeah.
And
I'd love for you to hear.
Thank you for driving down here to Dripping today to hang out with me and Eric on the Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast, and maybe we can have another beer and bullshit some more and trade some songs.
I would love that.
Like that. So anyway, folks, we're going to wrap it up. I know we've gone a little over. No big deal. We're having a great time. But Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast. This will probably come out probably tomorrow. So Two-Stepping Tuesdays, Broken Spoke. Keep plugging that. Mercer this Saturday. Check out the Western Express. Eric's got stuff going on with the Cowboy Experience. When do I get to go on another Taco Tuesday?
We got to plan one next week. How's that?
I want to do one. But anyway,
let's do next week.
Thank you guys for listening.
Today.
Yeah. Y'all make sure, like I said, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, rate, review, give us a follow.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. We appreciate the support. And Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast, episode 4. We're done. Stephen Castillo, Western Express. Bye.